So obviously the Pixel 7 and Pixel 7 Pro are not actually available on the market just yet, but I think a lot of us are very curious to see how the changes, the upgrades to the camera setup are actually going to translate into real world performance. We're going from a 4x telephoto to a 5x telephoto. How big of a difference is that going to make, in particular when we're pushing well past 5x into that 30x range? And how would that compare to 30x on something like the Galaxy S22 Ultra? Granted, they can go to 100x, so we can't really compete necessarily there. But if you go 30 to 30, how well would that compare? What kind of software magic do they have to be able to compete in that regard? Luckily, between that and the improvements to the video performance, we have a couple of samples we can already look at here today. This is a Google Photos album called Super Res Zoom on Pixel 7 Pro, and this was provided to people to be able to look at, and we're going to do just that. We're going to go through some of these images, and I'm pretty impressed with what I'm seeing here. So first off, I believe this to be an ultra-wide shot. You can see it is quite colorful, quite dynamic. The contrast is that typical Pixel level of contrast. I think it looks pretty solid, but here's the cool thing. They didn't just provide this image. We're going to jump in. Maybe this is, I'm not actually sure. Maybe this is the standard and this is starting the zoom. Maybe this is ultra wide and this is standard. I don't actually know. They didn't really label these. But as we start moving in, we're shooting through a window, so keep that in mind. We have some reflections there. But look how far we can start at. And as we start walking this in, we're definitely using our zoom now, and our details are still, relatively strong. I would wonder at this point, are we using software? Are we digitally cropping, or are we actually using that 5x now? We can keep going in. We can keep going in. Now, this looks to me sharper than the prior images did. I think this might be where we've switched to our 5x lens, because if we go back one, this to me looks worse. This looks like an image. Yeah, this is definitely worse. I would say this is just underneath that actual optical zoom. And this is something that I wanted to be able to explore, right? Because if you get to 4.9x, that's a digital crop. And then when you go from that to the 5x, look at the quality improvement when you jump up to the 5x. I think this is a clearly sharper, more detailed image. But let's keep going in further and further and further and further. I think that's the last one there. This is the full 30x zoom. And look, is it, absolutely the most incredible 30x zoom, the most incredible zoom shot I've ever seen? No, it's okay. But when you factor in that we started here and we were able to get to here, that is absolutely unbelievable. We have more samples to look at here as well. These are all supposed to be their zoom, so we're going to assume that these are all zoomed in to some degree. Maybe this is the 5x here. Hard to really say because they don't really give us a ton of detail. It's a really nice, colorful shot, though. The golden hour definitely at play there. Here's another one here that's going to run that full gamut. Maybe this is an ultra wide. Maybe that's the standard. At any rate, we keep punching in further and further and further and further until we max out there. Again, this is 30x. It's really impressive to me that we've actually got some details being preserved there when we started off so far away that you could barely even see that part of the Golden Gate Bridge, and you wind up that close. This is very, very impressive. Now, obviously, it was going to be really interesting to see this thing, in a shootout against the S22 Ultra, because we're really not going to know until you do something like that, until you do shot for shot. But I would say that this is, at first blush, very, very encouraging for that zoom performance. And the other thing we can look at here, this is a video uploaded by RMe Studios, and this is someone that works in a retail setting. They have the Pixel 7 Pro, and we're going to let this play a little bit. I'm not going to let it go very far because I want you to go actually watch their video on their channel so that they do, in fact, get a view. I'm not just going to show you the full thing here. But the color looks really, really good. The details look good. The audio, from what I can hear from when they speak here during this video, I think sounds pretty solid as well. Stabilization is as good as always on a Pixel device. The selfie camera also, I think, looks really, really solid. Nice detail, nice job on the exposure and the color. So I think there's a lot to be encouraged there about on the video side of things. I mean, obviously the iPhone still kind of rules the world of, mobile smartphone videography. Hopefully the Pixel can take a step in that direction, and you combine that with some really impressive zoom performance. It's going to be hard to beat this camera setup. I think that we're probably going to be in a world where, as an overall camera for stills, that Pixel 7 Pro is going to be right there at the upper echelon right there at the top. And as far as video goes, well, on Android, it's probably going to be near the top as well. You know, yet to see if the zoom can compete with Samsung, if the video can compete with the iPhone, but still encouraging stuff to see either way. Guys, if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.